What's going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, giofvcks. In this video, I'm going to be discussing love and what kind of love there is, what kind of love is out there. And more importantly, before I start this video, I want to pretty much ask a question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. It is up to you. But this question is, have you ever received genuine, unconditional love? And if so, what does that look like to you? Let me know what you think in the comment box below. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Again, it is your choice. So let's get into this. So when I look back at my life and the type of love that was shown to me and given to me in my family, it was very conditional. Very conditional. And what I mean by that is, it's based off of what you can do for them. So they'll love you as long as you're abiding by their rules and doing what they tell you to do and what they want you to do. But the minute you have a difference in opinion, you have a different way of doing things, you have a different style, you'll notice the love changes. It's not the same. You don't get the same support. You don't get the same energy. You know, that's the type of love that was given to me. And this is me, you know, this is me just keeping it real. You know, when I'm just keeping it a buck, as they say, keeping it a buck, keeping it a buck, keeping it all the way funky Hassan Campbell style. And I'm realizing as I'm healing and going through therapy and reflecting on my life, I've never had unconditional love. I've never had healthy love. My love has always been dysfunctional and very conditional. You know, the fact that somebody can remove love from you because you're choosing to live your truths. Now that I'm out the closet, it's just so obvious. It's so obvious and so real. Like, you know who really supports you and who loves you when you are living your truths. You're not in the closet anymore. You're not sitting up, you know, lying to yourself and others. And think about it. The simple fact that I had to be in the closet in the first place lets you know that, you know, you didn't really live in a loving family. You didn't live in a supporting family from the get-go. Because if they loved you and supported you, you wouldn't be sitting up afraid to be who you are. You know, so that's how you know you don't live in a safe environment from the get-go. The homophobia and the transphobia in my family, in my community, in the black community, in society, and in the world at large in general is bad. But that's a whole nother conversation in itself. But to just highlight it, it's just like, wow, you know, what kind of world was I really living in? And like, it just reflects. Here I am, almost 30. I'm 2 years away from 30, y'all. 24 months away from 30. 104 weeks, well, 103 weeks from 30. And it's just like, really? I've never had that type of love that people talk about when they, because unconditional love is, it shouldn't matter what, you know, you're supposed to love that person for them. You're supposed to show empathy, compassion, sympathy, support, respect. Now, I will say this though. I can vibe with unconditional love, but I also believe in boundaries. And sometimes you do have to have conditions, because my thing is this: are you going to love somebody the same when they're constantly disrespecting you and hurting you? Probably not. You know what I mean? Probably not. You know, if a person is a sexual abuser, predator, violent, probably not going to be having the same type of support, sympathy for them. So I can totally get that. I can totally understand that, right? So I can get that part, right? But it's just something. And then I'm also realizing in our household, again, we didn't really have that type of love. Like, again, nobody really expressed it. They don't even go, like, think about it. We don't even say I love you in my family. It's not even said. And that's why when everybody was talking about COVID-19 and, everyone's talking about how they can't hug and kiss their family members and loved ones, and it's so hard, and I'm sitting up here like, we don't hug and kiss in our family, no way. Again, affection is not something that's really done in my family. And again, that's very unhealthy when you really sit down and think about it. Like, nobody's close. Everybody is pretty much emotionally unavailable and closed off, aka narcissistic, egotistic, and dysfunctional and toxic. Because it's like, wow, emotions in my family is seen as weak, beneath, and pathetic. And you don't want to cry. And again, I struggle with my own emotions. Like, very rarely will you see me cry. Very rarely. Because again, it's foreign in our family, I've always heard from my grandmother, buck up. As in, man up, woman up, get it together. We don't have time for that. Crying isn't going to help you, in other words. So people are very cold, and I feel like a lot of that comes from lived experiences, being black in a world that constantly is hurting you. After a while, I guess you do become numb to the pain, and you pretty much have to have a tough posture and exterior to cope in this society. And I feel like for my grandparents and a lot of baby boomer blacks, that's pretty much how they live. This is why they don't show emotion, essentially. Or I'm not gonna say they don't show emotion. They show emotion. They're angry, bitter, mad, mean. Oh, they show that very well. They just don't cry. They don't show love. They don't show compassion. They don't show careness and sympathy and empathy. They don't show that. But they'll show anger and frustration and evil and meanness. They'll do that at the drop of a hat. They don't have a problem with doing that. Oh, they are professional at that. You feel me? But it's just something to think about, It is something to think about. And therapy and counseling is really hitting, it's helping me a lot, and then holding myself accountable. But it's like I'm realizing, hey, I'm also emotionally unavailable a lot of times. Most of the time. The majority of the time. Because I don't even recognize my own emotions, right? And I'm learning, like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to say I love you. It's okay to care. It's okay to show empathy and sympathy. And I'm learning that as well. But again, going back to the question at the beginning of this video, what is unconditional love to you? And how is it shown? What has been your experience? If you want to answer that, leave your answer, your perspective, your experience in the comment box below. I'm out.